Well, it's Thursday the 5th, and I thought I'd just send a quick video out on the current state of the parliamentary affairs here in the UK and what's going on. As I may not get a chance to send any more out for the next few days, it's just to give everybody an update outside the UK in terms of where we are. Well, Boris has basically, our Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, has had his wings clipped in many respects by all the movement going on in Parliament over the last 24, 48 hours. He's basically, a bill's been passed, basically Parliament have taken over from the government in terms of passing bills and laws now because of the Conservatives don't have a majority. Not through Boris's fault, really. I mean, he took over a weak position from the beginning. And he give him his dues. He's sticking to his guns of wanting to get us out of the EU by the end of October. So that's not changed. What's becoming more and more apparent is that the true colours of most of the MPs in Parliament have nailed their positions to the mast. It's very clear they are trying to stop a Brexit no deal at all costs. Some it's because they just want a no deal, they still want Brexit, but many it's because they don't want Brexit at all, and they're using it as a means and as a position to get the thing stopped. And so far they've succeeded. Boris has now called for an election to actually, let the people vote in terms of going it forward. And although Corbyn has been asking for election for the last 2 years, he's nervous to take this proposition at the moment because he sees it as another trap from Boris to get the Brexit business finished and over the line by the end of October. Meantime, the voters in the country are looking at this whole fiasco going on and seeing basically their MPs doing exactly what they didn't ask for. Majority of people asked to leave the EU, and the drama playing out in Parliament is exactly what they didn't ask for. I think Johnson is playing the only cards he can to try and get things to work. He's being described as someone that can't be trusted. He's being described as a buffoon. He's being described as someone who's a tin pot dictator. He's being described as someone who's ruthless and as just he's out of control. Because of all the MPs he's fired who didn't vote in support. And, the point is he's had to instill discipline back in the Conservative Party and get everybody singing from the same hymn sheet. He's had to do it, and he's had to do it very quickly. Because it was an absolute homos when Theresa May and David Cameron were involved. How do I think this is going to work out? Well, in the end, I think true integrity will come through. I think Boris will come through because I think he's the only one that has the country at heart, as I've said before. These other people are talking nonsense. I mean, it keeps on coming up. There'll be no food. Crashing out without a deal is going to be disastrous. There'll be no food and no medicine. It keeps on coming up. I wish somebody would just put these people right. It's scaremongering and it's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. As I've gone through those numbers myself before, the medicines will not dry up if we leave the EU. Neither will food. But we've got a whole. The thing is, when you've got the whole of the media, or a lot of the media supporting these stupid antics, you end up with a situation where you have this sort of involvement. Now, Johnson is a leader. He is a true leader, and he can fight. Let's be clear, he can fight. And I think it's just got to a point where it is getting dirty in that respect, because it's the only route forward. The suspension of Parliament is all because he wasn't getting cooperation. It's all very well saying negotiate and keep things open. People aren't listening to each other. People are still believing nonsense and stuff that isn't true, propaganda. It's no good having a Parliament that just likes to fill and infiltrate it with propaganda to frighten the general public. You know, Boris is a Democrat, but he's got to lead the country through a very difficult period. As I've said before, the EU has basically, over the last 30 years, 35, made the country lazy. It's made the country ill-informed. It's made the country a poor performer when it comes to productivity. It's done all those things. We want to get our strengths back so we can trade with the rest of the world and do it right. And Johnson is the only one who can do that for us. Therefore, that's how it will happen. Now, it might take us longer than what we thought, but it's going to happen. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.